So guys, while I've been in the process of unpacking my weight gain and how it ultimately affected many different aspects of my life, I've come across something that really took me by surprise, because at first I wasn't connecting the two. But the more I sit on it and I analyze my situation and my life and the choices that I've made as a result of gaining weight, the more I realize that actually gaining weight had a huge impact on my ability to make money, right? And it's something that at the time I did not notice it, but it's only now that it's too late maybe for some of the things that I'm sitting and I'm going, wow, actually that was actually the weight gain that caused that to happen, or that made me lose that opportunity. You know what I mean? So I want to just talk about that. So between the years 2017 up to 2020, I was working in corporate, and I was working for a really good company, and I was doing well. I was a very ambitious person. I always wanted to do well and perform the best, right? And I wanted to climb the corporate ladder as fast as I possibly could. And I also had some ambitions of leaving corporate earlier than retirement age. And then besides that, on the other hand, I always had small businesses. I've always been a very entrepreneurial person. And I've had many different types of businesses. I won't go into that. They've all failed. But I had started a business that was in the beauty space, and it was mostly weaves and lashes and all of that kind of stuff. And the business was okay in the early stages, but then 2019, it started to do really, really well. It started to take off really, really well. Sorry, looking at the mic. And to the point that it started making more money than the money I was making at my corporate job, which then further planted the seed of, you know what, that idea of leaving early and going out on your own is starting to seem more and more possible, and it's starting to seem like it can happen much quicker than you thought. So the business was doing really well. And then 2019, 2020, we all know COVID times hit a huge business curveball, which most businesses did, right? With my business being, hair and lashes and all of that kind of stuff, it was very heavily dependent on importing, right? And importing mostly from China, Vietnam, and all that, and Brazil. So when the borders closed and the shutdown happened, my business is one of those businesses that got the biggest hit. So it was tough times, but I still had a fighting spirit. And in fact, I was planning an expansion. I had already discussed with some suppliers, and I had already planned on traveling to China when, the lockdown is done and all that, because I wanted to start my own hair care line and launch it. So things were good. Even though financially they were tough because business was shaky, but it was just, I knew it was temporary. Fine. When the thing happened with my sister's passing and all of that, after that, I tried, guys, for the first probably 3-4 months to still stay strong. I know the first month after my sister passed away, I did not even go online. I just told everybody, guys, I'm dealing with a little bit of an issue. I'll be back. But even when I went back, I did not push as much as I used to. And also when I did go back, I had gained a little bit of weight, right? But not too much. And eventually 5 months into, after my sister passed, I don't know how to explain it, but there was a day where I just got tired of everything. I got tired of even trying. I did not want to show up. It was around the same time when now that isolation became really serious, like where I don't want to go to the store anymore. I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to talk to anyone. So of course I'm not going to want to do business with anyone, right? So at that point, one day I just woke up and I logged out of all my accounts and I just did not care. I did not have a single care in the world for a client, for business, for anything. But I had always thought that I'll come back eventually, right? So the reason for stopping then was not because I've gained weight. Let's get that clear, right? It was because I was grieving and I was not okay. And I felt like I was using business as a way to distract myself. So I just felt like I wanted some time to grieve my sister properly, right? And also when you're doing business and all of that, and every now and then clients will be like, I'm so sorry for your sister, it always just brings it back. So I thought it was just a mental health break for me at that time. But obviously during that isolation, I started gaining the weight, the pounds started piling, right? My looks started changing. And just to give you context, my business was heavily reliant on my image. It's a beauty business. And I did not have models and all of that. It's a small business. I could not even afford those. So I was the person that was the brand. I was the model for my business. I used myself to sell the products. So I had to make sure my skin had to be smooth and glowing. Guys, my skin went through a rough patch with all this weight gain. It's only now that it's starting to improve, but I still have some of the dark spots that were caused by this phase I was in, right? So I was not looking good. My body had now changed and I was not feeling confident in myself. And I just knew that there is no way I could show up looking like this. It's not going to be good for the business. And also, I knew that energy is a very infectious thing. People can tell when someone is not happy or okay, or they don't love what they're doing anymore. So I just knew that my image was like the most important thing for my business. So I'll just put some pictures here of me wearing different weaves, and just to show you how I looked, how I presented myself to sell them. And image sells a lot in the beauty space. Like, you cannot look mid and expect to make sales. You have to look like the dream girl. People need to see you and just want to look like that, right? And so this is, in terms of some face shots. So once the weight had piled up, right, the thought of going back to that particular business started becoming more and more of like there's no way, like, look at me. And maybe some of it was in my head, maybe I could have just bought myself new clothes, learn how to dress for my new body, put on the makeup, slap on the weave, and do what I need to do, right? But because I had this strong belief that unless I'm skinny and fit, I don't look attractive enough, I could not see myself putting on a weave and, trying to sell stuff. And also I had this fear of, what are people gonna say? I have that syndrome. I have it, and I'm still working on myself to try to make sure I let go of it, because it has taken so much away from me, because I always think about others first before myself. And sometimes it's toxic because you start thinking for people. And what I realize is people are too busy going through stuff to care. The ones who will care to say stuff are those that are very, very close to you. But generally, people are just too busy going through stuff to care. But I thought in my mind, Or what would my clients say if they start seeing me look like this? Or they'll think I'm struggling and this and that and all of that. And yes, I was struggling, but who wasn't during those times, right? So basically, since 2020, 2021 till now, I never logged in ever again. The business is just a pipe dream. It's still registered. I'm still filing taxes annually just to say it made nil and all of that. And I still wish I could do it again, but I've not found the strength to do it, because once I gained the weight, now I completely saw myself differently. And I remember I used to sit and look at those pictures and be like, wow, there's just no way I'll ever look like that. And also, age is a thing. Time is ticking, right? I was 25 then. I'm 30 now. And now there's a new fear, right? It's you're fat and also you're old. You're not so relevant. You can't be an old 30-year-old woman out here wearing weaves, trying to sell weaves. Guys, again, I'm talking down on myself, and I acknowledge that, but it's just the reality of the situation. So, and in December, when I was sitting and reflecting on life, I thought to myself, man, what if I never gave up on that business? What if I just pushed through it no matter what? How far would it be? Maybe I would have been having salons. Maybe I would have actually launched that hair care brand. Maybe it would be in convenience stores all across the country. Maybe I would have made it. Maybe it would have been something big by now. Maybe. And guys, the worst feeling is sitting down and realizing that you've lost time. You've used up your time. The worst feeling is knowing what you could have become, but what you chose to be. It's not a nice feeling. In December, it really hit me. I was like, man, life would have turned out differently for me. It really would have, had I pushed through, even through the pain. Had I not completely just given up, I know it would have been very far by now, or it would have birthed other ventures and all of that. So yeah, that made me realize that, wow, it has had a very big impact on my dreams, my goals, my ambitions. I woke up somehow 5 years later, now I'm in my 30s, and I couldn't see the one big dream I had that was actually coming to fruition. I couldn't see it through, because at some point I just felt I'm too fat to be making money, right? So that's one. And then another thing is, even when it comes to work, right? I stopped caring. I was working, but I was just working for my paycheck. Previously, I was not working for my paycheck because I was even hustling enough to make it back. I was working because I wanted to prove myself that I can do it, that I can make it. I was working to prove myself that, you know what, I can be the top performer of the year in this entire team. But I didn't care, guys. I didn't care. I was just doing enough to not get fired. And that affects your bonuses. I used to be top performer, wherever I worked. And being a top performer means you get bonuses, good bonuses. The last employer I worked for, I was the least performing person in the team. I received the lowest performance score. I did not even get a bonus for the first time in my life. So, do you see how it affected even my ability to make more from my full-time job? I'm not working right now. I eventually quit that job, and long stories that I don't think are relevant. So it really affected that too. And as you can see, like I was making money from a business that was booming. I was making money from a full-time job. I was making money from bonuses from that full-time job. Well, now all those three things I've mentioned, I don't have them right now. I just have my fat ass. Not even a fat ass, my fat tummy. The other thing, right, is like I said, I've always been a business kind of person. So I do have another business. I have many business interests, right? I do have other businesses right now. One is in the interior design space, and the other one is in the AI and software space, which is where sort of me trying to merge my corporate experience. And what I've realized is this. The amount of money I make from clients now is nowhere near the amount of money I would have been making from my clients when I was myself back then, or if I felt more confident in myself, if I showed up differently. First of all, I've not been buying clothes. I've been looking raggedy. And for some odd reason, I've still been going, having client meetings, looking the way I looked, which was nothing. It's only now that I'm trying to even make an effort, to be quite honest with you, to put in a weave or something decent. I did not give a crap. And I've had many business contracts where, especially last year, I've settled for way less than I deserve. Way less. And unfortunately, I did not even have the negotiating power because I did not present myself who was worth being paid a single dollar more than what I made or than what the client had to offer. And because also of the lack of confidence I've had in myself, I was looking at some quotations I did for clients last year. I was like, wow, I am undercharging so much. Like I am undercharging so much that it pisses me off. But I was undercharging because I knew that if I charged more, the client would not, the way I look, right? Personally, if I was a client and I was dealing with someone like myself, I would not pay myself the amount of money I want to get from these people. So even with the businesses that I still have now, guys, they're not doing great. They're struggling. Some months are great. Some months are fine. It's just a whirlwind, right? But I'm realizing that I'm not even able to collect as much money as I should because how I present myself is not optimal. And especially in the business world, whether I care to admit it or not, how you look matters. And I spent for the last 3 years lying to myself. I remember my boyfriend used to say, if you could just fight and lose weight and try to put in some effort to look good at the very least, these people would give you more money than they're giving you. And because I was in denial, I used to say, it's not about how you look. At the end of the day, it's about your skills and what you have to offer. If I'm good at what I do, I'm good at what I do. I used to tell myself that. But honestly, now when I sit down and I have honest conversations with myself, I agree with him. Unfortunately, you look at social media. Guys, you could be the most skilled and talented human being out there. If you do not package yourself right, you're not going to make it. There are people out there with zero talent, zero skill, but they're making millions because of how they show up, how they look, and how they package themselves, and how they feel about themselves, and the confidence they exude, right? But if you don't have all of those things, at this point, probably the only reason why I'm able to make some money is because of my talent or my skills. That's it. But my skills are only offering me enough to be able to buy bread. Well, I don't eat bread anymore because I'm trying to lose weight, but you guys get the point. But if I was leveraging beyond that, like I used to then, I would be making so much more. And it's so sad because, man, I'm 30. And maybe it's a topic for another day. I don't want to talk about how I'm 30 and I'm not happy with where I am. But unfortunately, I feel like there was something I could do. I'm not dismissing what I went through, I'm not dismissing the pain. I'm not dismissing everything. But what I'm saying is, sometimes you have to have your priorities straight in life. And I cared too much about what people think about how I look. So much so that I ended up waking up 5 years later and, I didn't have a single dollar to my name, to be quite frank with you. And me 5 years ago, I was in the money, right? Whether or not I had a full-time job, it didn't matter because I was in the money. I was hustling. I was doing something. I was waking up and I was confident in myself. I knew my worth. I would never undercharge myself. And if a client says, nope, this is too much, I will say, there's the door. But now if a client says, no, this is too much, okay, let's where can I meet? Can we meet each other? It's like, it's given desperate. I'm telling you, just because I don't like how I look in the mirror, just because I feel like I'm fat and therefore I don't deserve certain things. And I've now put myself in a space where truly I don't deserve those things because I don't even present myself like a person who deserves those things. And when I sit and I look at all of it, man, guys, I would have been so far in my life right now. If I look at all my business ventures, the ones I have now, the hair business, which would have been booming by now, and everything, every decision that I've made, I basically used my body weight as I don't even know what to call it. I used my weight to really mess up my life. And I'm not discrediting the things that happened, what I went through. But I don't know, maybe I went a bit too far. And I'm sharing all of this because those of you who are going through something in your life right now and you're gaining weight or losing weight and you don't feel good about yourself and you're closed up indoors and all of that, I empathize or sympathize. English is not my home language. But I'm with you there because I've been there. But also I want to love you enough to not sit here and tell you, it's okay, I understand, stay there, take your time to heal. Girl, don't take your time to heal. Force this healing if you can. Like, force it. Fight, please. There's a difference between going through something and just accepting that that is it, and going through something but waking up every morning and saying, I'm fighting my way out of this. It doesn't mean you're going to come out of it, but the fighting spirit is what keeps you alive. You know what I mean? Just fight. Like, fight, honestly. Show up. Do your best. Go buy some clothes. Yes, you've gained weight, unfortunately. Yes, but still show up looking clean and good. And if you've gotten to a point where you have started noticing that you're giving up on your dreams because of the depressive state you're in, please, I'm begging you, because I know how it feels to be where I am and where you are. And I know where you are is a painful and horrible place to be because I was there. But I can guarantee you one thing. Where I am, which is on the other side of giving up on yourself for a long period of time, is worse. It's worse. And it's not worse in the sense of you're crying every night and feeling sad. It's worse in the sense that you wake up and you have single-handedly taken your whole entire life and you have ruined it. And remember, time waits for no man. One day you wake up, I don't know, maybe where you are, you're in your teens. You don't want to say, my teens ended up this way, right? And you start making bad career decisions, maybe deciding not to go to uni and all of that, or not to start your business because you're going through stuff. Or maybe you're in your 20s like I was. You don't want to wake up one day, you're 30. And you're looking at your life like, oh my goodness, what have I done? And I don't have that time, I can't get it back. Or maybe you're in your 30s like me. You don't want to wake up in your 40s, 50s, getting into retirement age, and you realize that you wasted the last few years you had of youthfulness and rigor in your life. I understand what you're going through. And I'm saying this because I wish someone would have said this to me. I wish someone would have stopped me in my track. I wish someone would have been like, I understand. Take your time, but don't take 4 years. Don't take 5 years. That's half a decade. Don't. Even the person you're grieving for, at some point, if they were still alive, they would be like, what are you doing? Just because I'm not here doesn't mean you have to be alive but dead at the same time, right? For those of you who are dealing with grief, but for those of you who are dealing with other things, it's the same thing. It really takes a lot. And you don't want to wake up one day and you feel sad because you feel like you've messed up precious years of your life. And every year of your life is so precious, guys. For me, coming into 2026, I'm trying to learn how to love myself and give myself more grace and not beat myself up that much. But also, I wake up every day and I tell myself, you have to lock in, you have to push. You've had your fair share of 5 years of doing absolutely freaking nothing, and it has resulted in you having nothing. But don't allow it to happen again. Like, fight. It's not easy, but fight, honestly, because it's not nice. So if you're in a deep, dark place, trust me, if you don't try your best to come out, or at least fight, the other place on the other side is not bright also. Trust me. So anyways, guys, that's that.